Hi, it's Jane, and I am working on a Barbie doll dress. Yeah, how about that? Barbie doll dress. How is everyone doing today? Probably gonna put my glasses on because my eyes are getting a little tired, and sometimes that happens with the close work, so yeah. Anyway, today has proven to be a fairly interesting day. Our senior group had their luncheon. I'm filming this Friday. We had our luncheon, and it was Thanksgiving meal. It was really good. Um, the fellow that fixed the turkey smoked the turkey, and he did an excellent job with it. Absolutely delicious. And of course, they had all the regular sides, that kind of thing. But we had a treat. Our local homeschool group called Forest Friends came and serenaded us. They sang a couple of songs and then they joined us for lunch. So it was a rather pleasant afternoon. And they had also made these lovely Thanksgiving cards that they had made for us and colored, and they handed them out to everybody. So that was super sweet. And of course, most of these little kiddos I see in Awana, so I knew most of them. But it was a lot of fun getting to hear them sing, you know. Um, they sang This Little Light of Mine. And then what was the other song that they sang? Got Joy Down in My Heart. And so it was quite fun. And it's always fun to get to talk with people that you don't normally get to talk to. So try to always mix up the table to where we're sitting with different people. And it's nice to get to talk and see what's going on with those folks. So that's kind of what's going on there. This week is our big packing party, that kind of thing. So that should be interesting. We had the packing party. But this Sunday we should get our totals in for our boxes. I do know that with our packing party and what we have so far, our total of shoe boxes are 963, which our goal was 750. And I told you before, we kept pressing the gal that heads us up for our goal to be 1,000. Now, what she doesn't realize is there are about 8 or 9 of us that have been praying since July for us to meet the goal of 1,000. So she was a little overwhelmed by that last night when she was counting the rest of the boxes that we had up there. So, yeah, it's a great thing, Touch a lot of lives. And that's the whole goal. And as far as doing Barbie doll dresses, I was asked to make a couple Barbie doll dresses, so figured, you know what, I am going to make some. And I will be making some for next year as well, not only out of thread. This is a cotton that I picked up. I don't think I had picked it up. I think someone gave it to me. But this is a South-made cotton 8 in the color red. It's nice. I've already made one small dress. Let me see if I can get that out of here. One small dress, have to weave in the ends. It is just a strapless slip-on dress. I do have a couple of ideas to do some skirts and some different things, as well as a pair of pants. That I may have to have a Barbie for that, figure that out. An actual Barbie, I may have to go buy one to use as my model to test things on. Like, that's going to be a hard thing to do, right? But anyway, that's kind of it. Tomorrow is one of the last few days for drop-offs. And I think we have, from what I understand, we have a truck that's coming in with 7,000 boxes that we need to get loaded onto the truck. And I'm not sure whether they're just going to have them pull around to the back, because they're already boxed up, in the boxes to go. I believe they're already marked, from what I understand. So it's just a matter of loading them on to the tractor trailers. And we have 2 tractor trailers at the back of our church, with a third one waiting off in another area. So, yeah. A lot of people don't realize the operation that goes behind Operation Christmas Child and how massive it is, especially if your church is a drop-off point. I think we've probably seen maybe 25,000 boxes so far that have come through. They've been boxed up into the larger box crates to be shipped to the processing centers. I think ours go directly down to Boone, but I'm not positive. But last time I heard, that is where they go to. So that's always interesting, just that process in itself. And a lot of people don't realize that shoe boxes go out year-round. Processing centers are generally open year-round working on these. Even though we collect them in November, many times some of those boxes they're not able to get to until later on in the year, but they're still being shipped out year-round. So that's something that is very neat about this charity, the way that it works. It's a continuous thing that goes out and is worked on. We had one of the ladies that was at our packing party Wednesday night. I have a Bible study with her, and she was like, "We missed you at Bible study." I said, "Well, we were here at 8 o'clock in the morning working on getting things ready for the packing party." I said, "We were bringing things out, setting tables up." I said, "And then we left about noon, then came back about 3 to finish setting up." So, and she was like, "I can't believe how many people were there, how many people went through, how organized it was." She was like, "That was amazing." She had helped man one of the tables, which was basically to remind the kids, to pick up cups, to pick up the silverware, to pick up a frisbee, jump ropes, all that kind of things to go into all the boxes. And one of the gals that I sat at the table with at lunch today said they had come to help just to pack a couple of boxes. And she said what I thought was interesting was how intentional the kids with Awana were about packing their box and choosing the item, the wow item that they wanted to put into these boxes for these kiddos. And I said, it is amazing to watch them and to see how much they put into it. I said, and did you follow anyone to the card writing table? I said, quite a few of our children stopped to write cards, sign their names, to include a card to go in with the box. And that in itself is sweet to see, because these kids generally care about the other children and what they are getting. And, they understand that for some of these kids, this is the only Christmas gift they may ever receive. So They wanted to make sure that it was a good box for them. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. So, and at our luncheons, we always have a devotional that's put on by one of the pastors. And basically, his devotion today is talking about how as we get older, that God's not done with us. He's not finished with us. There's still a lot that we can do for our community, for each other. And that's always beneficial to hear because, as you get older, some of the kids just kind of push you off. He also challenged us. He talked about he had someone fairly recently, an elderly woman, who had walked up to him and said that the younger kids in his group were pretty rude. And he had said, "What do you mean by that?" And she went on to say that, well, they don't ever talk to me. They only talk to their little clique group. And so he had challenged all of us for us to reach out and talk to other generations to start a conversation. So, and I do that anyway. So, but it's something that a lot of older folks, they don't tend to try to reach out to this younger group and to talk to them. So, it was a gentle reminder. Conversation is a two-way street. You don't always have to wait for the younger person to start it. Okay, news-wise, let's see. NASA released the latest picture, supposedly from the satellite. Can't think of the name of the satellite. That is on Mars. And when they released the picture yesterday, it's one of the worst pictures around. This comet supposedly is 1 million times bigger than any other that we know about. And the picture that they released from the satellite was blurry, was very soft. You couldn't see anything. And it's kind of sad, the way that it looked. But the comet will be at its closest to Earth around December the 19th. Supposedly, you should be able to, with the telescope, see it very clearly. They are continuing to say it is a comet. So, there is that. But there's a guy on YouTube. Let's see, there's two guys. There is the Angry Astronaut, who has quite a few better pictures and has a little more detail about the 3-Eye Atlas, as well as a fellow named Stefan Burns. It's either Burns or Barnes. He is an astrophysicist that talks about the 3-Eye Atlas quite often and generally shares pictures, videos that he or other people have captured. So that is something to consider looking at. And those guys are on YouTube. So should I just leave it a straight tube dress? I think I'm gonna. Generally, you only want these dresses to be somewhere between 5.5, 6 inches. This is about 5.5. So I'm gonna end it there. Probably start another one. Maybe a skirt. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And on one of these, I thought about making the tube and then making straps to go over the top. Like I said, with this one, I just did a couple of rows of double crochet and added some extra loops, extra stitches in there to help it flare out a little bit. You could do that with this on the bottom, creating it an even longer dress. You could make it like that and add those. This is real simple. You chain with the G hook. I would say this cord is probably somewhere between a 2 and a 3. That's what this thread is. So you could probably, and I'm using a G hook, you could probably use that. And if you have crochet thread, you could probably hold 2 size 10 together to get that same kind of ish weight. The other thing is you could use the size 3 cord or even the size 5 that they have there. I think Walmart carries 5 and 3. Can't remember for sure if they do or not. So, that's an option. You could use the G hook so you don't have to go down to a steel hook. I do have some size 10 thread over there that I'm going to use with a 2mm hook to crochet a couple of dresses, skirts that way. So I'll be doing that a little bit later. The only thing that I've seen news-wise, as you know, President Trump signed into law the Epstein files to be released. So our government has about 30 days to release those. And so now we're going to see what's basically going to be a real circus that's going to happen. They have to release it into a searchable format for the public. They can keep certain things redacted like video, pictures, victims' names, those kind of things. Let's see, what does this bill also say? Oh, if there is found to be anyone within the government, past or present, that is associated with this, they have to be released, let go, if they're in government positions. And that is regardless of whether it's state, local, or federal, or even overseas, internationally. They're affiliated with the government. They have to be let go. What else? The Senate is supposed to be able to get everything, possibly, so that they can start having Senate hearings if they choose. They will also be looking at staffers. If they have anything to do with this whole Epstein thing, they'll be looking at those too. So, like I said, there is going to be a circus from here out. And this is where a lot of people are saying, I think it's Heather Richardson Cox, I think that's her name, or Heather Cox Richardson, can't remember, keeps saying that all those men, women, and senators that are calling for the military to remember their oath, and they don't have to act on certain orders to remember their oath. This is all in regards to the Epstein files and what's coming forward. There are a lot of people that are saying that this is sedition, and I kind of think, in a way, it kind of is what they're calling for. The military has an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of this land, the same as this president does, and the same as all those in Congress. And to be honest, we've not seen that because they're not upholding the laws of this nation. I mean, that's clear that they're not. So, yeah, like I said, here comes the circus. As someone said, grab your popcorn and sit back and enjoy. So I don't know, it's going to be kind of crazy. This is going to be a short one. I've got to go get a couple of things ready, and I've got some things I need to get done, so I will see you again soon, everybody. Have a great week. Be blessed. And if you can, do something kind for someone else.